Now, if you're a subscriber, current subscriber, welcome back and thank you again for tuning in today. If you are someone that is tuning in for the first time, my name is Troyson Bassini. I am the owner and head of research of Life Buyers Agency. So, we are a regional Queensland buyers agent specialist and we service the Central Queensland and North Queensland property markets under these two brands here. So, up in North Queensland, we've got Tropical Life servicing Cairns, Townsville, and the broader region there. And then we've got Capricorn Life servicing the Central Queensland basin from Rockhampton to Bundaberg and everywhere in between there as well, Gladstone and Mackay included. And what we do is we generally help a lot of investors and geographically challenged buyers navigate these markets. We're on the ground, we provide buyers advocacy services, purchase, negotiation, acquisition, and pre and post settlement support for anyone looking at potentially buying in any of these locations. We've done more than $250 million worth of transactions in these regions. 70% of our purchases are off market. And I like to say, as a result of buying off market, a lot of our properties are also bought in isolation of competition and under market value as well. So if you feel as though you are an investor that might need potential professional help getting into these markets, feel free to reach out to us on those websites below or give us a call on that number and we can connect you up with myself or one of my team members for a chat around how we might be able to potentially get you into the market and buy you a cracking investment. All right, the next market we're going to dive into is Gladstone. So Gladstone, we can see here, Gladstone has a median house price of 632,000. And apologies, actually, I think Bundaberg probably sits number 3 on the list overall today. I think it's Cairns number 1, Gladstone, then Bundaberg. But we'll have a look as we move through this presentation today. But yeah, as you can see, it's a lot more expensive right now than Bundaberg. But I had a bit of trouble with the data. I've noticed that with the data that's been aggregated, I use hashtag analytics, and uh, Agnes Waters is part of the Gladstone Regional Council. So its median house price gets bundled into the Gladstone median. I think it drags up its average overall. So like the median house price in Agnes Waters, which is a beautiful seaside town, about an hour south of Gladstone, pretty much its own separate town. It's not a suburb of Gladstone, and that has a median house price of $1 million, and it's clunked in there with all the other data and has a tendency to really drag up that median. So the Gladstone median house price is 632, but I think it's more around maybe that sort of high fours, low fives. I think it's around that sort of $520,000 mark right now. But the data, unfortunately, on hashtag analytics just sort of plunks it all together. So I'm using that median of 632, but I think the median right now in Gladstone's more around that 520. But look, guys, let's have a look at it now. So Gladstone, its median house price has grown by 12.8% this year, from 560 to 632. So a total of $72,000 worth of growth here. So going back a couple of months, if you probably would have watched the market update I did on Gladstone a few months ago, I was pretty much anticipating this to happen, a really big sort of accelerated growth phase happening in Gladstone, because the data at the time looked very, very good. Like we had a really sort of trending low day on market rate. We had supply starting to contract. We had an inventory pool that was tightening at the time. And yeah, we started to really start to see sort of price movement happening there. And this was going back, yeah, 6, 7, 8 months ago. I was saying this, and yeah, to speak to that point, it's definitely happened and eventuated in this market here. So if you want to go watch that video, there's a timestamp on one of my Gladstone videos I did market update a couple of months ago. So feel free to jump back and look at that. But if you want to invest in Gladstone right now, then I think this is sort of a good snapshot anyway today. This brief here that I'll be running through today is enough, I think, for you to figure out what you want to do. So yeah, guys, look, it's a market on the rise, right? And it's had a crazy run year to date, growing so much in such a short period of time, and it's probably the fastest growth I've seen happen in a regional hub for quite some time. I know Rocky went pretty crazy there, this year and last year, but not at this rate. Townsville, I think, sort of come close to this, but not at this rate, particularly over the last sort of 10 months. It hasn't done this sort of numbers. So crazy to see Gladstone, really bounce back, particularly after a couple of really lean years there. And it was a market that was in the doldrums. No one wanted to touch, and it's really started to bounce back now. And I think a lot of that could be attributed to a change in its economy now. Like its economy is very much diversified, and it's not a one trick pony town anymore. It's very heavily geared towards mining and the gas industry. The big Curtis Island development that was there many years ago really spiked a lot of the population movement and investor activity and buyer activity back then. And now that its economy has diversified quite a lot since then. It's and now quite a thriving little regional hub now, and I think its property market is really starting to reflect that. And good to see Gladstone, really make a bounce back now. Um, Sitting at 632,000 with a population base of roughly 50,000. Can I see this median house price push up a little bit further? Yes, I think it does have some capacity to keep pushing up. Obviously, I think if you are buying this market, I would buy properties under the median. So I'd be targeting the more cheaper opportunities, the more affordable suburbs where you can potentially get in and buy for like 450, 400,000. I wouldn't necessarily be buying at the top end of the market. I'll probably shy away from buying, four-bedroom brick homes in places like New Auckland, Glen Eden, Kincora that are around that, 550, 600,000 now. I think there's very little growth in them going forward. I'd be buying sort of the 400, 450 opportunities in and around those same suburbs. I think that's where the best value is in Gladstone now as we speak. So we can see here from a days on market point of view, looking at the demand and supply side data, 38 days on market, dropping 19% from 57 days in January. So we've had a massive drop there in days on market, which shows that demand has really ramped up here in Gladstone over the last 7, 8, 9 months, dropping around 19%. So demand very high, and it's exactly what you want to see for point in time data if you are looking at potentially investing in a market, is that day on market rate really dropping. But what that also means is that the market is very red hot as well. So properties are selling very fast on the market. So you have to be pretty quick. And if you try and ring any real estate agents right now in Gladstone, if something goes on the market today, I can guarantee you by the weekend it could be potentially under contract or have several offers because things are going very fast. So that's probably the only downside about Gladstone. Yeah, all the data suggests that it's good, but to try and buy in it is quite difficult as well. So it's one of those markets where it probably goes on for offers over 550, and pretty much the best offer gets the property deal done. So it can have its pros and cons there if you're trying to buy, and it can be quite challenging. But yeah, we buy a lot of property off market in Gladstone as well and get a lot of visibility of the stock before it even comes on. So if you are someone that might need help buying in Gladstone, feel free to reach out to me and the guys as well. So days on market looking good. Stock levels 0.4%. Inventory levels sitting at 6 weeks. So stock levels super tight, 0.4%, under 1%. That's as tight as it gets, 0.4. And then inventory sitting at 3 weeks. So inventory basically means is how much weeks would it take for all the properties that are currently listed on the market to be liquidated into the buyers. So yeah, for what's on the market right now, it'll take 3 weeks for all the stock to be cleared out. So that's as tight as it comes, guys. 3 weeks. A lot of the other markets, like across the nation, that are not as hot as the regional Queensland hubs right now, they average around sort of 3-month inventory pool, whereas we're at 3 weeks in Gladstone. So that's as hot as it gets. Listings, we can see listings have spiked 17% from 110 in January to 129 in September. So not a huge jump there. January is generally a quiet period anyway, where a lot of people, coming back from holidays takes a bit of a while for the market to ramp up again. And if we look back at the listing volume, I think it's averaged around between sort of 100 to 120 listings per month anyway over the last 10 months this year in Gladstone. So looking at these listing volumes spiking, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But obviously, the more listings that come on, could potentially be an issue for short-term capital growth. So keep an eye on that data if you are looking at investing here, guys. Rents have increased 4.8% from 357 to $456 per week. So the rental market is growing here also, and it's still a very cheap rental market, I think, as well. And I think it's not a rental market that's as expensive as places like Rocky and Mackay right now, which is good. So I think it still has plenty of wiggle room to catch up to these other regional hubs as well. But the rental market is growing here as well, guys. And we can see the vacancy rate currently sitting at 0.9%, and it's actually down from 1.2% in January. So yeah, guys, so that's a total of 27 listings less. So the vacancy rate here is certainly down as well. So moving and trending downwards is a good thing. Is what you want to see with a vacancy rate is get tighter and tighter, so rents can continue to rise, and that sort of tightness in the vacancy rate market puts upward pressure on rent. So yeah, guys, look, Gladstone. If you are looking to invest in Gladstone, it's showing all the right signs of a market that's on the rise still. There's plenty of steam left in it. So the median house price is growing. It's done double-digit growth already this year. Supply levels are very low. Demand levels appear to be very high. Has a growing rental market and a compressing vacancy rate as well.